Corpus Christi and Victoria's city councils will host their weekly meetings. The removal trial for the Corpus Christi mayor begins tomorrow, and officials and meteorologists are keeping their eyes on Tropical Storm Bertha as it gets closer to Texas. This is South Texas Midday. I'm Rob Boskamp. Thank you for joining me on this Tuesday, July 21st. Corpus Christi City Council is meeting today at their council chambers. They will discuss a motion to direct staff regarding data center classification and parameters. Those topics will include a unified development code amendment to define data centers as a distinct principal land use, and they'll also look to amend city zoning and permitted use tables to prohibit data centers in all zoning districts. They will also look at possible action on an ordinance placing city charter amendments on the ballot for the November election. One of the amendments includes increasing city council terms to 4 years. Another would stagger terms for city council members. Full meeting agenda and public comment sign-up are available on the City of Corpus Christi's website. Victoria City Council will meet at 5 p.m. today at their council chambers. They will have 13 items to be decided in this week's consent agenda block. This week, Mayor Dwayne Crocker is scheduled to discuss support for renaming the Veterans Affairs Clinic in honor of Master Sergeant Roy P. Benavides. Victoria City Council meets on the first and third Tuesdays of each month. Meetings are live-streamed online at victoriatx.gov and on YouTube at Victoria Texas Videos. Tomorrow, the removal trial for Corpus Christi Mayor Paulette Guajardo will begin. She is accused of misconduct related to a hotel development project. A citizen petition alleges that she put an item on the council's agenda to award $2 million in tax incentives to a project developer. It also accuses Guajardo of being aware of an altered screenshot used in the developer's presentation requesting the funding. Her lawsuit to have the removal proceedings thrown out was dismissed by a federal judge last week. A reminder that the City of Corpus Christi's filing period to apply for candidacy in the upcoming mayoral or council member elections is underway. Potential candidates can submit their applications through 5 p.m. August 17th. Candidates' applications and requirements for filing are available in the 2026 candidate packet on either the City Secretary's website or in paper form at the Secretary's office at City Hall during regular business hours. Tropical Storm Bertha has sustained winds of 50 miles per hour and is turning westbound for Texas. National Weather Service meteorologists expect Bertha to be downgraded before making landfall. The tropical storm is hitting dry air and heavy wind shear that is keeping it from developing. The storm is expected to cross over Louisiana before reaching Texas. The National Weather Service, as well as the City of Corpus Christi and its Office of Emergency Management, will continue to track Bertha over the next several days. In the Rio Grande Valley, officials in Starr County signed a disaster declaration Monday following the county's first reported case of New World screwworm. Judge Eloy Vera signed the disaster declaration, which enables county officials and ranchers to get resources needed to prevent the spread of the screwworm. In the past 2 months, the U.S. Department of Agriculture has confirmed 41 New World screwworm infestations, including 40 in Texas and 1 in New Mexico. 2 cases in Texas are still active, including the one in Starr County. The first detection in the Rio Grande Valley was confirmed in a baby calf in western Starr County last week. Laredo's World Trade International Bridge reopened Monday after traffic was temporarily suspended Sunday due to floating debris hazards on the Rio Grande. Texas Public Radio's Maria Navarro has the details.
Laredo officials say the closure was a precautionary public safety measure to protect commercial drivers, bridge personnel, and the traveling public. It allowed federal contractors to safely remove cylindrical floating river buoys and debris that had become lodged at the base of the bridge following heavy rains. No structural damage to the bridge has been reported as a result of the buoys. The Department of Homeland Security is installing hundreds of miles of a floating border wall in the Rio Grande. River flow experts previously predicted that the buoys would not remain in place during a flood event. I'm Maria Navarro in San Antonio.
A North Texas real estate agent has been arrested and charged in a murder investigation from 2012. KERA's James Hartley reports the arrest comes after police used forensic genealogy to identify a suspect.
Arlington police and the FBI in Dallas identified Mayra Velasquez as the suspect. Itasama Sanchez was found dead with multiple stab wounds in January 2012. Jimenez, who only wanted to share her last name, is a real estate agent who knows Velasquez. She said the arrest came as a shock because Velasquez always seemed kind and polite.
Recently, I talked to her about seeing her traveling the world, and I had told her, hey, like, what are you doing? How are you traveling the world when we got to sell houses? She was like, no, girl, I got family, and so I go visit them, and that's what we do, and so I really don't have to spend a lot of money.
Velasquez is being held at the Tarrant County Jail awaiting trial without bond. I'm James Hartley.
After days of catastrophic flooding, much of the state has begun shifting once again into flood recovery mode. Last week's heavy rainfall in central and south Texas caused floods that killed 2 and left hundreds of homes and businesses damaged. For many Hill Country residents, the experience has meant reliving the trauma of last summer's catastrophic floods. The Texas Newsroom's Lucio Vasquez went to Kerr County, where one couple found that rebuilding means learning to live with a river they know will rise again.
The sound of honky-tonk music filled Howdy's Bar and Chill in Kerrville Thursday night. Behind the bar, owners Lorena Guillen and Bob Canales greeted customers by name. Outside, the wooden patio glistened after days of near-constant rain. Just beyond it, the Guadalupe River churned through Kerr County.
Feels a little bit of deja vu being here again today and seeing the river the same way it was last year.
That same river destroyed the RV park they owned just over a year ago. More than 130 people died in flooding across central Texas at that time. For Guillen and her husband, watching the Guadalupe rise again has reopened wounds that had barely begun to heal. Last year, in the early morning hours of July 4th, floodwaters tore through the region. The couple waded through rushing water, pounding on RV doors to wake sleeping campers. Guillen was helping people uphill when they spotted John and Julia Burgess trapped on a small island in the river with their 2 young boys. Last year, Bob Canales recounted the story to me. Across the raging river, he told me he shouted, "Throw me the baby."
And I understand why he didn't do it, because what if the baby didn't make it? Or what if I didn't get the baby? So instinctively, I stepped off the sidewalk and in an attempt to help him, but the water was too powerful.
The Burgess family disappeared into the current. Their bodies were found in the days that followed.
I remember seeing them standing by that tree you're looking at there with the lights on. And that was the last time I saw that fine young man with his family.
The couple helped save nearly 24 other campers. For the next few hours, they would helplessly watch as cabins broke loose from their foundations, as RVs were ripped from their parking spots, as cries for help echoed over the roar of the river. Months later, as they rebuilt their lives, Guillen was struggling.
It took a while, in my case, to realize that I needed some help. I didn't know that being, in a bad mood is some sort of depression and trauma. And of course, I was diagnosed with all that plus PTSD.
The flood also damaged their home. They've since moved about 40 minutes away. Guillen says she's grateful that things were different this year.
The big difference between last year and this one is we had no one staying on our property, sleeping overnight, so we didn't have to worry about people losing their lives like we did last year.
Now, instead of rebuilding the campground, the couple plans to create a riverfront space for day visitors. No more overnight guests. There's also new flood sirens on the property, donated by a private company.
A lot of our neighbors did evacuate it, and, it saved some lives.
After last year's flood, state lawmakers invested millions into new river gauges and flood sirens that now stretch across much of the Hill Country. Here's Governor Greg Abbott on Friday.
Because of everything that was learned and experienced in the flood last year, everybody in Texas has been far more prepared to deal with what has happened this year. There again is one reason why lives have been saved.
For locals in the Hill Country like Guillen and Canales, they know the Guadalupe will rise again. The difference, they hope, is that the community will be better prepared for the next flood. I'm Lucio Vasquez in Kerrville.
And that is the latest news and information on South Texas Midday. I'm Rob Boskamp. Your community arts calendar and more is on the way.